Hello, welcome to the program Big Talk on Global TV. My name is Topsy Gimba. Big Talk, it's a program that we look into issues, we dissect them in the way we understand. The program again gives us the opportunity to invite personalities with us in the studio where they help us to look into those issues for those who are watching us right now. We are on DSTV channel 365, Star Times 276, as well as on social media handles. You watch us wherever you might be in Nigeria, even beyond. Today we are going to take a look by dissecting into the 2026 budget that was laid on Friday by the president of this country, Bola Tinubu, where he met the senators and lawmakers in a joint sitting, and then he presented the 2026 budget for those for next year. We all know in this country that the 2024 budget and that of 2025, they're still running concurrently. But those who took time to watch and listen to what the president said on Friday, he categorically mentioned that the two budgets shall be rounded off at the end of March 2026, and then the 2026 will come into effect from the month of April all the way, and then to end in December 31st. Of course, you know Nigeria before now used to present budget, and the new budget starts the first day of January and then runs to December 31st. But this government, I think due to some deficit in the economy and lack of funding the capital projects and things like that, they now delay the implementation of budgets 2024 and that of 2025. I have a guest who is going to join us via Zoom, via WhatsApp, so to speak, in the person of Mr. Tayo Odewale. He's a national coordinator, Coalition of Federalists for Good Governance. In a very short while, by the time we finish the introduction, he gets to discuss with us on this most important discussion this evening. I simply urge you to stay tuned, and then we'll go to short break. By the time we return, my guest will be with me and give you detailed information concerning what the 2026 budget stands for and its impact on citizens. Don't go away. Welcome back for the Big Talk on Global TV channel 365. Like I told you at the beginning of this program, or at the opening really, I said we are going to take a holistic look into the 2026 budget as laid by the president on Friday in a joint sitting, Senate and Members House of Representatives, where he presented a very bogus amount of money for 2026 budget, running to about 58.18 trillion naira for Nigeria to use in solving its problem, the capital, the overhead, and then the concurrent or the current. So it is on that perspective, I decided to invite my own well-known journalist, as a matter of fact, who has been there. He runs an organization that's called Coalition of Federalists for Good Governance. He's a national coordinator. He's not any other person than Taye Odewale. Taye Odewale, it's a pleasure having you on this program this evening, Big Talk. Hello, Mr. Taye, can you hear me? Mr. Taye, can you hear me this?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so very much for I know it's difficult to really take your time to be with me on the program this evening because I know you are so busy. But of course, I know being a journalist, work all through. So you are part of what we are discussing this evening on Global TV channel 365 concerning dissecting the 2026 budget and its impact on Nigerians.
Okay.
So what's your opinion on that?
Well, the budget presented by Mr. President on Friday, 58.18 trillion naira, as he said, he christened the budget of consolidation, to consolidate on all the gains of reforms he had been making. And if you look at it, that budget, it is for the first time you see the estimate for capital far bigger than that of the recurrent, meaning that the budget will focus more on project execution, where the ordinary Nigerians can have a buy into it, because you talk of road construction, you talk of all manner of project execution and so on and so forth. I think apart from other sectoral ones that he gave, for example, in the area of health and social services, he proposed 2.48 trillion, area of education 3.52 trillion, infrastructure generally 3.56 trillion, and so on. And in the area of security that have been developing the country, he proposed the largest sum there, 5.41 trillion. So from the proposal, it's a very, very promising budget. And as he said, he himself, as he said, the value of a budget is not in its presentation, but in its implementation. And he assured Nigerians that 2026 will be a different fiscal year entirely, because they are going to adhere strictly to implementation of the budget in terms of aggressive revenue drive to get the money for all the projected assumption. Okay.
And that leads me to asking you this question, because you are the national coordinator of Coalition of Federalists for Good Governance. So holistically, what you do ties to what the budget is talking about. In your own opinion as a coordinator, can you say that good governance is likely to be derived out from this budget we intend to implement by April next year?
Yes, good governance is likely to be derived. You know, the president is made a conversion during that presentation. Like this year, now, 3 different budgets were implemented. That of 2023 was implemented, capital component of it, implemented up to June. It was on the 30th of June this year that the capital component of 2023 budget was finally rested. And the capital component of 2024 budget is still on, and it will end on the 31st of this month. And then you don't forget that that very day, the day before, President had requested for extension of capital component of 2025 to March 31st next year. But what I want to say is that what the President himself said, he said this idea of multiple budget implementation in a single year will end on the 31st of March next year. That from the 1st of April next year, it will be a single budget implementation, that there will be opportunity for government to focus on how the effectiveness and the efficiency of the implementation in making sure that every naira spent returns the required expected value. So, by extension, that is good governance that we in the coalition of Federally for Governance in Nigeria stand for. Because when you throw money into project or into any vision or mission, let people see the concrete result that money will bring. And that is what the president has assured, that 2026 will be a different fiscal year. So we are very expectant that that good governance will be practically reflected in the 2026 fiscal year.
Okay. Though of course you are not a lawmaker, but I know you are a well-known veteran in the aspect of journalism, and you are likely to know nearly everything, but not completely, so to speak. What brought about two budgets, probably to run concurrently with that of 2026, making three? What brought about that? Is it because we are operating on the deficit aspect of it, where there's no money, where a certain amount of money will be announced, considered to be the budget for implementation for that particular year, and where projects are really going on, you find out at the end of the day, they are not being given the cash backing. They don't even operate, so to speak, as a matter of fact, because there wouldn't be money to handle those projects they intend to carry out. That brought about the inconclusive expenditure of 2024, and happened again to be the same thing with 2025, before the 2026 was laid on Friday, and is expected to run until March 31st, and then the new one starts on the April 1st, as a matter of fact, like the way you said it. Though you are not a lawmaker, but being a journalist, I believe you have a little knowledge about why it happened that way.
Thank you very much. You see, this multiple budget implementation started in 2023 fiscal year during the administration of the late President Muhammadu Buhari. The 2022 budget, the capital component couldn't be implemented to the fullest before presentation was made of 2023. And then to answer your question directly, what it is revenue shortfall, to hit the nail on the head, revenue shortfall account for multiple budget implementation. You know, budget is a projection. Budget itself, when everybody present budget, is making projection.
Yes.
That is the expected revenue, like in this year budget now, 34.33 trillion. That is the expected revenue that to be generated. And don't forget that in that budget, there is a deficit of 23.853 trillion. That deficit in that budget, that is the money government know that you go and borrow, whether locally or internationally, to make up that 58.18 trillion. But the revenue government is sure of generating is 34.33. So in 2022, expected revenue, they fell short, they couldn't get it. That is why they now roll that of 2022, they extended the lifespan to 2023. And 2023, the same thing happened to it, expanded the lifespan to 2024. That was how multiple budget implemented. That was the year it started. And so what the president said last Friday now is that thing must stop. They're going to stop it, and that's the reason why, instead of now voting, he has now rolled over 70% of capital component of 2025 budget, roll them over to 2026.
Yes.
70% of capital component of 2025, they have rolled them over to 2026, meaning that no new project, it is the same project they will continue with. Instead of the previous year that you have already started one project and you have made funding up to 40%, but the revenue couldn't help you to continue the funding. You now say, okay, you now run to National Assembly, you beg them to help you extend the lifespan of that capital component of the budget. They extended it. They too, they have said it now. And I don't know whether you were at the public hearing carried out by the Senate Committee on Finance on Monday, the week that ended yesterday.
Yes.
You will recall that the executive chairman of FRS, Zach Adedeji, said this multiple budget implementation can only stop when government stop using revenue of one fiscal year for implementation of budget of previous year.
Okay.
That is it. When government stop that, if you the revenue, last year now, government projected revenue of 41 trillion, but government was able that year to get just 10 trillion. So shortfall of 30 trillion naira. And that is why government reduced that revenue projection this year, for next year to 34.33 trillion. So it is realistic projection, I say, and this type of shortfall used to come from oil revenue. There have been improvement in non-oil, but oil revenue, oil revenue, the fate of it is in the international volatility of the international market. So government is being more realistic, and then that's the reason why the capital component of 2025 budget, they take practical steps. They make sure that they didn't allocate contract for them. Only 30% of it was given, the one that they already have revenue for, while 70% have been rolled over to 2026. And they say they will make aggressive revenue generation so that they'll be able to implement it. So I think with what he said, once that can be achieved by them at the start of April 1st, implementing one single budget, then it will be easier for government to assess its implementation and then to be able to determine whether they are delivering as projected or not. Okay. Because this year, just as you said, it was very bad. We implemented 3 different budgets in a year. So you cannot even pinpoint which one is 80%, yes, which one is 60%, yes, which one is 100%, and so on and so forth. Yes.
Okay, I can understand. But let me just speak the language of an ordinary Nigerian. Those who are walking in the street or sitting at the beer parlors and discussing Nigeria economy. If a country is said to be producing oil, almost like 1.8 billion barrel per day, and sold to $1.400 per barrel, it means it's making a lot of money. And then at the end of the day, on the day the president came on board, on May 29, 2023, he categorically mentioned that subsidy has been removed. Money that were often used in buying and trading within the oil sector, in whatever way, probably federal government expending a lot of money in doing business in the oil sector is completely removed. Meaning nobody gets anything for government. It's only government that receives and then uses it for Nigerians at the end of the day. What has really happened that this subsidy removal, we are not seeing the effect, and upon that again, the government goes out to borrow money from international monetary bodies for Nigeria to use. Only at the end of the day, the supposed implementation of capital project, you don't just to see that we're talking about rolling over. Where has the money gone? The one that we're getting from the oil for the removal of the subsidy. I'm speaking the language of Nigerians. And the borrowers we're getting from other countries or international bodies. Where is the money going? And we're still dancing around like a bear who had just listened to a music that's being played by someone else.
Thank you very much for that question. And then let me answer in a very plain language that ordinary Nigerians will understand. You see, the misconception all of us used to have is during that subsidy. It's as if when that subsidy was removed on the 29th of May 2023, when the president took over, the impression is that subsidy that was removed, that the prices of liter of fuel that jump off from 100 and something to 500 and something, and then to 600 to 700 to up to 1,000. Then before it's now decreasing gradually. It's not the government, the gap. It's not the government is getting that money. The effect is what we are feeling as Nigeria. When there was subsidy, the price of a liter of fuel was 100 and something naira. When that subsidy was removed, it jumped to 500 and something. So government is not saving anything. The government transfer that subsidy to transfer it to consumer, we Nigerians. And that's the reason why we felt that astronomical increase. It's not the government is saving money, the increase, the government is collecting it for filling station. No.
Okay.
When we were buying 100 and something naira, that made the gap. The over 400 on it, that was what government was subsidizing before. And that was the reason why, in previous government, that was the reason why government was even borrowing that even to be paying salary. But yes, the government is still borrowing now. But borrowing the government is doing now is not to pay salary, is borrowing to execute capital projects. Hope you are getting me.
I'm getting it fully.
The borrowing now is for execution of capital projects, not borrowing for the current expenditure. That in the past, when government was overburdened by subsidy of fuel, government that time spent all its money resources to the point that there is no even money to even pay salary. So government even need to go and be borrowing money to pay salary that time. So the removal of subsidy, I lifted that body from government from not having revenue to pay salary.
Okay.
So it's the only area it cannot cover is the area of having enough money for capital execution, project execution. So gradually, government want to cover that gap for more aggressive revenue generation. So that is it.
Okay. So what brought about the issue of today? Sometimes in a year, you might be hearing that a supplementary budget is taken to National Assembly and a certain amount of money is announced in that supplementary budget to be given to the executive for it to use. Where is the money coming from? And what has happened with the one they have announced as budget before that we're talking about supplementary? And what happens to what we are borrowing? I'm just speaking a plain language for Nigerians to really understand basically what goes around within the economic sector of this country.
You know, we are in a democracy.
Yes.
Though I'm not the economic advisor of the president,
I know.
I'm not the spokesperson.
I know, I'm not speaking to you as a journalist.
Program, so I will just explain, I'll give a response to it the way I understand it.
Exactly.
You know, we are in a democracy.
Yes.
And in a democracy, the executive, whether at the federal, which is presidency, or at the state, which is governor, or even at the local government level, which is a chairman of the government, whatever money you want to spend, that money must be appropriated for by the legislative arm. In the case of the federal government, that is National Assembly, state House of Assembly, and local government, the councillors, the elected councillors are the legislators in there. So it is because of that, I get what I'm saying.
Yes.
If government had already presented budget for a fiscal year, like this 58.18 trillion now, the government has presented, there are some projects government put there. Maybe along the line, that project the government put, maybe rail line or road or what have you, government now discovered that this road that you want to do, that we said that it should be 4 lane, that is through the other let us expand it to 6%. It is 4 lane, and that's what the one they appropriated money for.
Yes.
So if you now say that it's supposed to have been increased to 6 lane to take care of some other very important things, you have to go back to the legislature again for supplementary budget, because you cannot just take money that was not appropriated for and be one who had that type of opportunity. When they present their budget to Nigeria January 1st, that is so. Whether the budget they presented, they are addressed strictly to the money they said they want to spend or not, nobody questions it.
Yeah.
But in the democracy, the executive of table whatever expenditure we want to do, table it to the legislature for approval.
Okay.
So that is what used to result into supplementary. Once you're already implementing it, and you know that you need either to expand, to add, to that supplementary you come. And you cannot just take money because you're executive, it is agency under that are getting revenue. You cannot just pick the revenue. That money you want to pick must be appropriated for. So that's what you to be responsible for supplementary budget.
Okay, I understand. You are speaking like somebody who's working with the presidency, and you say you are a journalist.
No, you have already said it. You said
I'm only trying to tease you.
I've become the National Assembly since 2007. Since the 6th National Assembly,
yes,
we are in the 10th now.
So you know everything.
7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So, and every year they have been bringing budget. So, typically, even if one is not an economist,
you will know.
One's supposed to be able to understand the dynamics.
Yes, true. I quite agree with you. Okay, look at this country. It's said to be the number 6th producing oil producing country in the entire countries that are producing oil in the world. And in Nigeria, in a day we produce 1.8, according to what the president said, 1.8 million barrels per day. And by 2026, according to what he said, he hopes it will jump to 2-point-something barrel per day. Now, the question here is, when you sell this crude oil at the international market, according to him, a barrel costs 1.400. That's $400.
A barrel cost a barrel. The projection president made for 2026 that a barrel will cost $64.
$64 exactly.
A barrel.
That the exchange rate was
$64.
Yes, at the exchange rate of 1.4400.
That is 1,512 naira.
Yes.
US dollar.
US dollars. If federal government makes that kind of amount of money in a day for 365 days in a year, where is the money going?
Okay, let me make some correction.
Yes.
You said that we are producing 1.8. The president didn't say we are producing 1.8. What we are producing now, based on the figures rolled out by NNPC and what have you,
yes,
they say it's 1.6 million barrels per day.
Not 1.8.
And the president is saying 1.6 million barrels per day.
Okay.
And the president is saying for the 2020 fiscal year, they are projecting that Nigeria will be able to produce 1.8 million barrels per day for 2026.
Okay.
Now, and then the president now said, okay, oil price benchmark for that $64. Yes, you know that thing. You need to be in the oil sector. I'm a journalist. I'm not in the oil sector, but I know that when NNPC people come, the submission they used to make, it is not Nigerian firm that extracting that oil that you are talking about. There are some foreign firms that are doing it for them. They have to settle them and so on and so forth.
Okay.
I get what I say.
Yeah.
And then if you produce 1.8. Another thing, if you produce 1.8 million barrels, don't forget, Nigeria is not going to international market as an individual.
Yeah.
Nigeria is with Organization of Petroleum Exporting Country, OPEC. OPEC used to give quota to each of its members that this is the quantity, the million barrels we are taking from you to help you to push to international market. So you may produce 1.8 million barrels, and then OPEC may not take that entire 1.8 million barrels from you. OPEC may take 1.2. Then you have to look for another country that you buy. So those are the something. The money is not that the money is not coming. They are getting the money, but as they are saying is that that is where we are having problem. That's where we have a problem of revenue shortfall. Oil sector, that's where we are having problem of revenue shortfall. It's 64. When we enter 2026 now, something may happen in the international community. It will make the price of oil to go down. From 64 that I say it may go to 60, from 60 to 50 something. And at times, something may happen in the international community that may even make the price of oil to go be higher than the projected DC.
Yes.
So those are the dynamic volatility. I get what I'm saying.
Yes.
So that is it.
Okay.
I don't think they are getting the money and not remitting it. No, they're getting it.
Okay. I can understand. I do believe those who are watching us, whether within or outside the country, they're really getting the gist of what you are providing for us on the program Big Talk on Global TV channel 365. But let me take you back to where you are familiar with. You are the coordinator of a coalition of federalists for good governance. What brought about this concept in you?
Thank you very much. Nigeria is a federation. Nigeria is a federation. That is why you have Federal Republic of Nigeria. And then Nigeria is a federation, but Nigeria is not running the federation in line with fundamental principle of federalism. What is federalism? Federalism is a system of government where powers, resources are shared between the center and the coordinate unit. In Nigeria, the center is federal government. Mm-hmm. The coordinate unit are supposed to be the 36 states.
And the local government.
That power. No, local government is not even there. It is later people brought local government into it.
Okay.
That power, I get what I say.
I do.
It's not well shared between them. So maybe because of yes, it's not maybe because of military interest that Nigeria had for many years. That decentralized federation handed over, bequeathed to Nigeria on October 1st, 1960. Decentralized federation.
Decentralized.
Got over centralized and almost turning the country to a unitary state by the military. So that is what Nigeria Since 1999 up to now, that's what Nigeria have not been able to correct. And that is what resulted in we, coalition of federal for government. That was the reason why we floated that, so that we'll be able to interface with people in government that, Nigeria is a federation. This is how we should do this. One of the things that we are expecting now, we are very happy. APC governor said it, governor from the north said it, southern governor said it. They said the time has come for state police. Security, our security architecture, does not tally at all in any way with the security architecture of a federation. Each state is supposed to have its own security outfit. That is how federations are run. You don't centralize all the security structure that the head of the security will be in Abuja and be dictating directly. Nobody's a spirit. There's no somebody will be in Abuja and be able to know what is happening in Kaura and Moda, or from where I come from in Kwara State, in my hometown. So now that they say yes, they have realized that crime is local, and the best solution for it is a local also. That yes, we bring constitutional measure for creation of a state police. That's a very good step, and that means Nigeria is gradually now towing the path of a decentralized federation. So when that is done, you will see that those criminally minded people who are taking advantage of the over-centralized structure, by going to local areas to plan diabolically and to unleashing terror on the people, they will meet them at the local level by that security outfit. And the one that the federal government is having is there. Nobody is saying, even in all other federations, in America, for example, you have the federal security architecture. All of the states, even municipalities, they have their own. That's the reason why the security that in that place is more watertight than it is here. Okay. So what gave to rise to the formation of Coalition of Federal for Good Governance is that we discovered that after the many years of military terrorism in the country, from 1999 till this moment, the political players have not taken the expected action to decentralize the country, to make the country to be truly a federation. That is it.
Okay. When we decentralize or decentralize government, and then it will cascade down to the local to the state, to the local government. If it means what used to be exclusive will now become concurrent for both the state and local government. Is that what you mean?
Thank you very much. You see that terminology, I didn't want to use it before, but now that you are using the terminology, what you mean that you see, for example, policy now is in the exclusive list. And that is the exclusive list in the federation. It's something that is only the center. Mm-hmm. And in Nigeria, the center is federal government. That means only the federal government that can legislate on that. But now, if they are amending it, if you want to create the police, you have to remove current list. Meaning that, yes, both the federal government and the state can legislate and take action on it. That means a state government that says that it has the resources can form its own police command. So the federal government will still be there to supervise and know that what that state is forming is a rebel outfit. It's police to police its community. So that is it. And there are some other things. For Constitution today, mining, I get what I'm saying? Yeah. Mining is in exclusive list.
Not concurrent.
Why? Well, all those minerals are in the state mining. So the state have it, but the state cannot be doing the mining. A license. It's only federal government can license miner. I get what I'm saying?
Sure.
The federal government does not have the required people to do this thing. That's the reason why you have illegal miners all over the state. So, but if the mine is taken from exclusive list to concurrent list, both the federal government and the state, we now have the constitutional right to legislate and to issue license for it. And you see that the state will take advantage of that. They'll be able to be in charge of all those things to be mined in their state. It's not that they will be looking the other way. It's always the legal mining that's taking me out to run. It's the federal government that's supposed to look at. A federal government far away in Abuja, and somebody is doing illegal mining, sorry to say, maybe in Sanfara, or in Nasarawa, or in Kwara, or elsewhere. So that's what you mean.
Oh, okay. I'll still get back to you, but let's go back to the budget. I just wanted you to tell us basically whether what we saw on Friday with what you run as a coordinator, is in tandem with their expectation. Though you expect the country to be completely a federal system of government rather than be a unitary system of government.
It cannot just happen in the first move.
Yeah.
Nigeria being a unitarized federation today, it didn't happen just one day.
Yeah.
But we are happy that steps are being taken on that direction. Once that step has been taking place, gradually in years to come, the country will be able to be running decentralized federalism.
Okay.
Decentralized federation. Nobody is saying, well, the federal government will be there, will be as strong as, but the state will now be able to know that I need to be more responsible to my responsibility by making sure once that constitutional enablement has been provided, no state government will have any excuse to give again.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
I do.
If you create if a state has a police outfit on its own, and then there's insecurity in that state, the governor cannot be just be giving them excuse that a judge, a chief security officer, and the CP, the commissioner of police, doesn't take order from him, and so on and so forth. There will be no excuse like that again, because you have your own police command that you can give order to whoever is heading that thing. So that is it. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. I was just imagining the president, atomizing what he intends to use the budget in 2026 to do. I remember he talked about infrastructure, education, defense, and health. These were the main things he categorically mentioned. And he went further to even say that President Donald Trump had equally given the country closely to about 500 million or billion, I don't know, money
$500 million.
Yeah, to support the health sector of this country. If that aspect is said to be taken care of by foreign assistance, that means by 2026 we should be seeing some of these different hospitals will often go, like patients will just go, the doctor will just write prescription for you and ask you to go to one pharmacy, maybe the pharmacy is its own or whatever, for you to buy the drugs or for your own patient or yourself particularly. I think with getting that amount of money, with what equally the budget has they're prepared to take care of, put together, we are likely to see a robust health sector in 2026. Can that seem to be correct?
You are very, very correct. That is what the projection. That's what the projection is suggesting. That is what the projection is telling us. That in that budget, to 2.48 trillion naira have been earmarked for health and social services.
Yes.
Health and social services, 2.48 trillion naira. Education, 3.52 trillion naira. Infrastructure generally, 3.56 trillion naira. And as I earlier said, for defense and security, that is, all the security outfit, equipping them, taking care of their welfare and what have you, 5.41 trillion naira. So what that is telling us is that government wants to focus on all these critical sectors so that the hospitals will not just be merely consulting clinic. And you didn't see consulting clinic. Let me remind Nigerians, the first person that used that word, merely consulting clinic, was the late head of state, Abacha. And he didn't use it well as head of state. He used it when he announced the coup that terminated the Second Republic, December 31, 1983. When the Shagari-led Second Republic democracy, democratic governance was toppled. That was when Abacha was a brigadier at that time. When he announced that ability to take over, the part of the reason why the military came was that our hospitals were just mere consulting clinic. And you can just imagine 1983 till now. How many years is that? We are talking about 42 years ago. The hospital still remain consulting clinic. So we just hope and pray that the government will be able to get the projected revenue of 34.33 trillion naira and be able to secure loan to the tune of 23.85 trillion naira, because that is the deficit in that budget. If anybody present budget to you and say the deficit is this, that deficit is telling you that is the deficit that I know that I cannot get revenue for, but I will go and borrow, whether from a local, market here or so and so. So when government is able to yes, the money will be spent on all the critical areas. And when the money is spent on them, automatically we get the expected result. That is it.
Okay. So if you look at the general perspective of what the budget 2026 intends to achieve. Do you foresee that Nigeria as a country might not be like the way it used to be? Looking at the body language of the president, who appeared to say what he said that day, that it wouldn't be just mere rhetorics, but just saying what he wants to say and get away with it. But he will assure Nigerians of full implementation to show that lives get back to a better position.
Yes, the president said it, and I'm happy that he that said it, he was the one who also said that.
Hello, are you there?
Budget is not just by presentation. But are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
His budget is not just by presentation. Budget is about delivery. So he himself has said so, that he will deliver. Once they are able to deliver all the projections they made, automatically we'll be seeing a different Nigeria on positive template.
We're going to see Nigeria on positive templates.
A different Nigeria.
A different
positive
Nigeria.
template.
Okay. I hope when it comes to implementation, by 2026 ending, we're not going to be hearing a different language or rhetoric or body language like the way they did to 2024 and what they are even doing to 2025 when they are about to present when they are about to present 2027 budget.
It's not about it. What I expected you to say that we hope that by this time of next year, when it's coming with 2027 budget, when it started, when he made that presentation, President first gave background. He told us that 2024 budget, he gave us even the 2025, how shortfall in revenue made government not to achieve all the projections.
Yes.
So we just hope that in 2026, when it's coming 2027, it will not be the same excuse. I get what I'm saying.
I do.
So it will not be the same excuse because for the first time in his speech, he said that 2026 will be a different year in terms of strict adherence to budget implementation. Strict adherence to it. And all revenue generation agencies that they are even bringing technology in to track all revenues that they are being generated, so that in order to block all those leakages. That's what he said.
Yes.
So we hope that will happen. And when that happens, then it will not be coming to make excuses again.
I pray it doesn't happen like that again. Well, let me ask you this question, Tayo Odewale, the coordinator, national coordinator indeed for Coalition of Federalists for Good Governance. At the presentation of the budget, some people put their own eyes on how things were really going on that day until we were able to get an exclusive information that lawmakers simply abandoned the aspect of the budget they were receiving from the president, and then they were going for the largesse provided by the president or by the presidency, so to speak. For them, according to the information, some of us say, I don't know how true is it, allegedly, so to speak, that senators were getting, is it $50,000 when the members' House of Representatives were collecting $30,000 as a largesse. I'm just saying it as being allegedly mentioned on some of these sources we got at a point when the budget was presented and then the president left. Is that true? Did you hear anything like that?
Yes, I read it one of the online media platform. Yeah. I read it, but one thing I can tell you is that I'm not from the presidency, so I'm just a journalist and I covered the Senate. I was there that Friday when the budget was presented to joint session of National Assembly in the hallowed chambers of the House of Representatives. So I was there, I saw when the president came in, and I saw when he finished. And when he finished, because I covered the Senate, I was at the lobby. I saw when the Senate was led out of that chamber by the Senate President before they went there to go and adjourn. I didn't see anything where lawmakers were running after somebody to collect anything. I get what I say.
I do.
So the person who wrote that story We have more information, but I didn't see any people gathering in cluster, or I see them running after somebody to collect something. All of them were there in that alone chamber. They listened to the president from the beginning to the end, and when the president left, every one of the senators among them went to their own chamber. Those who are members of that representative remained there, and
yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Properly.
Go ahead, I can hear you.
Anything was somebody is given one envelope or the other. So
no, you are not party to it. You don't know precisely what really happened then.
Yes, no.
Okay.
No, I'm just telling you what I saw.
Yeah, exactly. We were all there together. So let me ask you this question. By 1st January, according to the information we received,
any lawmaker, anything, and I don't see any lawmaker. That's what I saw practically.
Yes. Again, there is this insinuation coming from various quarters concerning the would-be implemented tax reforms tax reform act, which it will take effect by 1st of January. Some are really saying what they presented from the National Assembly for the executive to sign, to pass it into law, is what has come out to be, at the end of the day, that sections that they knocked out found themselves back again to the budget, and they are feeling so uncomfortable. One of the names mentioned is that of Abdul Samad Dasuki, I think from Sokoto thereabout, who first brought out that idea, and they're circulating on social media. I don't know whether it is true, something like that you have heard about, concerning the would-be implemented tax reform that we expect to see by 1st January 2026.
What did you say, the Abdul Samad? What did he say?
That they have been foot dragging for a very long time concerning these tax reforms. There were 4 bills put together to reform the economy of this country, which eventually, at the time they brought it to National Assembly, either to the House of Representatives or to Senate, there was a lot of disagreement. We had some, cacophony of voices concerning that, saying no, some saying yes, until again, the president had to suspend that idea and then reintroduce it before they finally passed it, and now it became an act like the way it is. Now it has been signed into law, and the copies are flying, and the lawmakers are saying what they debated on is not what they are seeing today.
What they debated is not what they are seeing.
Yes, the copy that has been signed.
We wait till January, but we wait till January when the implementation begins to know whether what was passed into law by the National Assembly is what is being implemented by the executive.
But
I don't want to be commenting
on something that you do not know.
On insinuation being made by an individual.
Exactly.
All I know is that FRS and all other people, their tax experts, they are coming out to erase the pressure people are having that thing will further worsen their condition or further impoverish them. They said no. They even went as far as to tell them that if you are not even earning to certain amount of money as salary, that you are even exempted. So what I will just appeal to Nigerians is that by the powerful grace of God, next year is less than 2 weeks from now. 2026 is less than 2 weeks from now. Okay. So when we get there and the implementation begins, then we know whether what was passed by National Assembly is what is being implemented.
Okay, I like that. So, so when are you traveling? Are you flying? They said, the Sky High fare has increased. It has increased beyond the level of Nigerians to access. And I often imagine the regulators or the operators, so to speak, in that sector. Is it because there is high level of insecurity and most people who are afraid of being kidnapped or killed or taken into hostage by some evil forces around, they feel to fly is the only option. And again, they now lay this booby trap for them. Now they have been found completely falling into it with the increase of this airfares. Are you traveling to Kwara State by flight?
I'm going back to Kwara by flight. You see, this is a national television program. I'm not indicting the aviation sector in any way. They are trying their best. All the airliners, they are trying their best. But honestly speaking, to be honest with you, I have phobia for this
flight.
Traveling by air in Nigeria. To the glory of God, for many years now, we have not been having any disaster, and there won't be any here disaster. I don't pray for it to not happen. But me, I prefer traveling by road. That's what I like. I'm a village man. I get what I'm saying. But that does not mean that those who cannot withstand the rigor of traveling by road with all those problems should not be allowed to travel by air. Government is supposed to intervene by way of meeting the critical players in the Senate. Senators even raised that the thing has skyrocketed to the point that it's becoming gradually unavoidable for them. So I think it's high time government look into that.
Okay, I hope the government will do that so that at the end we have a stable amount of money, minimum for everybody to use. Yeah. Okay. Tai Odewale, we are gradually coming to the end of the program. I really appreciate you for staying all that long stretch of time, closely to an hour, discussing on critical, important issues that Nigerians want to hear about them. I really appreciate you. I'm not surprised. You are really the national coordinator of Coalition of Federalists for Good Governance. I appreciate you deeply, I must confess. Okay, I think my guest has actually gone off the radar, but I really appreciate him for whatever he did when he was with me on WhatsApp call. That was Tai Odewale. He is a journalist. We both cover National Assembly together, Senate for that matter. And he is our chairman, Senate Press Corps. That is his job in the National Assembly for us as journalists. I decided to go out for him to be with us on this most important discussion because I believe he has sufficient knowledge on what's happening within the economy and how the budget was laid on Friday. And of course, you listen to the figures he reeled out for you to understand that indeed he's at the grab of it. I really appreciate you, sir. Well, that's about the size of the program, Big Talk on Global TV. The program comes every day from Monday to Sunday at about this time, 7 to 8, where issues are being looked into holistically. It equally gives us the opportunity to invite personality to be with us in the studio to help us analyze some of these issues. And that was what we did just a while ago with my colleague, Tai Odewale, who's the national coordinator, Coalition of Federalists for Good Governance. I'm about leaving the studio, and I wish you well. Christmas is by the corner. So you might not see me again on Sunday like this. I'll be catching fun elsewhere. I do have a very lovely time, and stay tuned and not be a trouble person. Celebrate Christmas in the way it should be so that Nigeria will be better tomorrow. I'm leaving the studio. My name is Topsy Gimba. Bye-bye.